Have you heard of the Living Carnivore Diet? If you haven't, you're about to, because that's what I'm talking about today. Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Sue, and if you've not been here before, I've been eating a sometimes carnivore and sometimes living carnivore diet since May of 2022. If you're on my channel, you probably know what a carnivore diet is, but what is a living carnivore diet? It's basically another version of the proper human meat-based diet, of which there are quite a few. So let's start at the beginning with the ketogenic diet, which originated back in the 1920s to treat epilepsy. Then Dr. Robert Atkins introduced the Atkins diet. This was followed by the Paleolithic diet, which was a meat-centric diet that included still quite a lot of plants. It removed grains, and there is also a version of the paleo diet for autoimmune conditions, which removed many of the plants with the worst plant toxins, such as the nightshade family and nuts, and many people had really good results with it. In amongst all this, there were a select few who were eating what they called the zero-carb diet. This was a diet made up of meat and fat and other animal products, which was eventually renamed the Carnivore Diet by Dr. Shawn Baker when he published his popular book on the subject. And this was the beginning of what we now know as the Carnivore Diet, which is becoming incredibly popular. And from that, the Ketovore Diet became a thing, because obviously a name was needed for those who ate a meat-centric diet, but still included some low-carb salad, vegetables and fruits. And now, finally, my prayers have been answered with the Living Carnivore Diet. It's absolute perfection. Myself and some others out there have found that our perfect version of the carnivore diet contains fermented plants. These are things like sauerkraut, kimchi and even fermented berries. And so for myself, I've struggled with how to explain what my diet is. I used to call it carnivore, and then because I was eating some plants, I wondered if I should be calling it ketovore. But I didn't quite fit the ketovore description either, because I don't eat the occasional salad, lettuce or tomato. I just really eat ferments with my meat. And I know some of you are going to say, does it really matter? In the grand scheme of things, probably not. But for those of us who are sharing information online, it does matter, because without a name for the diet that we're eating, it's easy to cause confusion. And it just makes it more specific. It helps to clarify what we're talking about, because otherwise you have beginners who are getting mixed messaging about what diet they're on and what they should be eating, which of course can cause all sorts of chaos in comments and chats online. You get my drift, right? The carnivore police. So where did this living diet name come from? It came from the amazing Dr. Sean O'Mara. I was watching an interview with him on Thomas DeLau's channel recently, and he said he's coined the term Living Carnivore Diet, and I'm running with it. It's the answer I'd been looking for. I guess I'm a little bit anal when it comes to these things. So we now have the Carnivore Diet, named by Dr. Shawn Baker. We have Dr. Ken Berry, who talks about a proper human diet, which kind of encompasses most of these meat-centric diets, really. And now, Dr. Sean O'Mara has answered the prayers of us fermented plant-eating carnivores and come up with the Living Carnivore Diet. So, which version is best? That depends on what suits you and how your body reacts to food, plus your lifestyle. For me, I seem to do better with some ferments in my diet. My diet is probably 98% meat and animal foods, and I have anything from a forkful to a half a cup or so of fermented veg on my plate, just depending on what I feel like. At this point, this works for me and my body. And I've known that Dr. O'Mara is a fan of fermented plants for ages. In fact, he recommends to his patients that they eat a meat-based diet with ferments. And the reason that he does that is because he's studied visceral fat and looked at thousands of MRIs, and he's noticed that those who eat fermented foods get better results with reducing visceral fat and marbling in the muscles, which I find interesting. So I actually wonder if he's right, and the proper human diet should in fact be the living carnivore diet, because as he says, humans have evolved with bacteria in our water, our food and our environment, but most of those who these days are eating a strict cooked carnivore diet are eating actually quite a sterile diet, and they're usually drinking sterile water, and of course they're living in quite sterile conditions compared to our ancestors. If we look back into the past, humans have eaten the stomach contents of the animals they have hunted forever. And this is something that seems to be ignored within the carnivore community. Eating the chyme of animals is still practiced today by Australian Aborigines who eat the chyme of kangaroo and probably other animals that they hunt, and also the Greenland Inuit who consume the stomachs of the reindeer as a delicacy. Chyme is the partially digested plant material from the stomachs of the animals that humans have hunted. Chyme has historically been eaten, so the argument that humans ate no plants during the Ice Age is very likely false. They ate partially digested plants, just small amounts, as other carnivorous animals do. If we watch the big cats when they take down an antelope, what do they eat first? The content of the gut, the small intestine, and the organs. So the partially digested plant material has historically been a small but probably important part of the diet. And fermented plants are also pre-digested. During the fermentation process, that's what the microbes in the ferments are doing. They're pre-digesting the plant material, releasing nutrients, consuming the sugars, making them lower in carbohydrate, and basically making the plants more readily digestible. And fermented foods have been eaten for at least thousands of years. A quick Google search shows us that there is evidence of them being consumed at least since 11,000 BC, but I suspect it's probably longer. All traditional people in every area of the world have eaten fermented foods. Some have been animal-based ferments, some have been plant-based. Humans have fermented dairy, meat, eggs and fish, as well as all sorts of plants and grains. But humans have likely been consuming fermented food, maybe unintentionally in the beginning, in the form of alcohol since the beginning of time. Humans have always had a taste for alcohol and have always apparently had the ability to metabolize alcohol. Some primates, those closest to us, have had the ability to metabolize alcohol for between 7 and 21 million years. And the thought is that this has originated from consuming fruit that had fermented on the ground. In fact, it's not just humans that have enjoyed the effects of fermented fruits. There are many animals and birds that also like a tipple, from elephants to monkeys and even birds like parrots that flock to the drunken parrot trees in Australia and get so inebriated that they can't fly or walk. As things often happen, I stumbled across a video recently before I even started thinking about making this video, talking about the theory that agriculture, the purposeful growing of food by humans, actually began solely due to the desire of humans back then to make and consume alcohol, not because there was a lack of food. So it looks like our ancestors consumed a small amount of plants, at least in the form of chyme, and probably naturally fermenting fruits when available, if for no other reason than the resulting alcohol and its effects. But we also have to remember that we are different from our ancestors. We don't have the robust, healthy bodies that they had. Instead, most of us come to this way of eating with broken metabolisms and toxic bodies, living in a very different world, a different lifestyle, far removed from our natural existence of the past. Most people experience miraculous improvements in their health, just eating meat and fat, and they think that they're there, as healthy as they can be. But are they? I have to wonder if many strict carnivores could have or would have even better health with ferments if they actually tried eating them. Dr. O'Mara is looking at the visual results via MRI scans and reportedly seeing benefits for those eating ferments. Is that worth doing or considering? If we believe that plants are trying to kill us no matter what form they come in, then chances are we're going to feel worse eating them. Our mind is mighty powerful. But if we try them with an open mind and see how our body responds over time, not a couple of weeks, but maybe a couple of months, then we might be able to judge. But what are the long-term effects of a diet, either with or without ferments? Will there be a difference over 20 years or 40 years? The truth is that we don't know. This is all an experiment. Personally, I like to stay curious, learn, and try new things. I feel better with ferments right now. That might change in the future, and I'll probably try strict carnivore again, maybe soon, and see how my body responds and how it feels. Until then, I'm going to keep eating my kimchi, and I'm going to keep experimenting with fermenting some berries and maybe even some fruit. I'll be testing my blood glucose and ketones, as well as monitoring how I feel and my weight, which is my priority right now. I have to say that I'm intrigued by this whole topic. I love fermenting and experimenting, and I'm very thankful to Dr. O'Mara for coming up with a name for the way that I eat. I'll also keep asking the hard questions, and I will stay curious. So what do you think? Did this video make you think? I'm interested. Pop any questions or comments below the video, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and of course like and share with anyone who might be interested. I thank you very much for watching, and I will chat to you another day. Goodbye for now.